Welcome to episode 16 of About the Cards podcast, live tonight on YouTube. As always, with me, my co-host Ben Wilson at our trading cards. His tears are dried and gone because the A's are down now 6-0 in the top of the eighth. At Junk Wax Twin, Stefan Loeffler. He didn't have to worry about the playoffs because his Twins weren't close. And I'm Big Shep, Tim Shepler. And my Royals. Yeah, they had 100 and something odd losses this year. Not a big deal. We're gonna have the second pick in the draft.
So the weather just got really bad in the neighborhood. Kicked out my satellite signal, so I can't even see the A's. Man, it's a good thing that this game's not close right now. I'll tell you, I'd be pissed. But right now, it's cool. It's 6-0. I don't even have to watch this.
Well, guys, as always, we are a podcast by collectors for collectors, hoping to bring you a smart and insightful podcast discussing trading cards tonight. We're live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here on YouTube. You can always follow us on Twitter at About the Cards. We're available on iTunes and Stitcher. And also, you can subscribe to us on YouTube at About the Cards Pod, and you'll get notified when we go live, so you won't miss the show. And again, like I said last couple weeks, we have the live on location. We have a Dime Box show coming up, hopefully very soon, next week or so for you. Those are gonna be little 10-minute videos that we do about the hobby. And I just, you know what, I'm going Beyonce, guys. I'm just gonna let you know now.
I'm gonna let you finish.
After being so famous and being on the hype today with the Mojo guys from Mojo Break, my ego was so big they had to ship me in parts today and put me back together in my card room so I could do the show, because I am the biggest and best thing on the show. And I'm going to leave you now, and you all can do whatever. But
so what you're saying is your ego is now like half of Ben's?
Yes. Yeah.
You know Kelly Rowland was like the best singer in that group, right?
Yeah, but Beyonce is the sexiest and best thing that came out of that group, just like this. Just like me. And Steph's the other one. Who was the other one? I don't know.
All right, you want to make out with Jay-Z? That's your own problem.
Hey, yeah.
Two-run home run, Oakland.
Oh,
Chris Davis. Look what it was.
But by the
MVP.
way, real quick, supporting the Brew crew, because they got a whole bunch of Royals. And they're going to win the NL this year.
Let's go Brewers. I was really upset that the Brewers and Rockies had to play in the first round, because I'm not a big fan of the Braves or Dodgers. So I was really hoping I'd get to root for both the Brewers and Rockies in this round, and then have to take whichever one wins a CS, just as long as it's a good series. And so right now, if the A's are going to be eliminated, I'm rooting for the winner of the Brewers-Rockies series to win the World Series.
Yeah, I real quick, as we talked about, I was on the hype today with Mojo Break, and they reached out to me earlier this week to hop on and talk about Topps Living and some guys for the playoffs, and I was really excited and happy to do so. I've been breaking with them since like 2012, and it was to me it was a big honor, and I want to thank Doug and Dan and Conrad for giving me the opportunity to come on and do that and to talk about our show and have you guys be part of it. And even though Ben was talking some trash in their chat before, it was great, and Steph hopped in, and it's good for us to I appreciate they gave us some love today, and that was pretty cool. So they said a lot of nice things about me. I kept playing over and over on the way home from work, and that made me feel all warm and fuzzy. So thanks, I appreciate it, and we appreciate it, because whether, like I said, we do this for fun, we do this for us, and if no one listens or watches or whatever, no big deal. But hey, we have a good time doing it. So, guys, the week that was last week's releases, as we get into it, of course, lead off with Topps Living for last week, the 29th week they've done. We added a little over 17,000 cards. It was the 21st best week we've had out of the 29. Card number 85, Don Mattingly, Donnie Baseball, sold just under 6,800 cards, which made him the 27th most popular card. Shortstop Nick Williams, the rookie from the Phillies, sold over 4,700 cards, which put him in 70th place. And retiring third baseman David Wright of the Mets sold just over 5,500, and he came in as the 49th most popular card. The total print run is over 660,000 cards at this point. Guys, this is the kind of typical week we've been seeing lately. Mm-hmm. Any thoughts? Donnie Baseball leading the way there, but Nick Williams, this is the first time in a while the rookie's been the bottom dweller out of the three.
Yeah, but I mean, he's a Philly. So, of course, the two New York teams are going to outsell them. Random side note that I noted after the show last week when we were talking about these three coming up. So, the week of my birthday, and that's up to card number 87, the year I was born.
There we go.
Minor tidbit. But no, I'm really not surprised that, Wright and Mattingly led the way. I would have guessed the opposite as far as the top card. I would expect Wright with his announcement and a few other announcements this week would have led the way, but with its tops. I mean, you never know what is actually going to go on.
Ben, what do you think, bud?
Yeah, I thought David Wright would have showed a slightly larger showing only because he had the walk-off career and fan favorite, and a lot like we drew the parallel between he and Mattingly being in the same year, same market, or same career parallel, I suppose. And I thought that New York market, the hobby's big on the East Coast. I would have thought he would have sold a little bit more, but overall, they were about where everybody thought. I think I'm glad to see Mattingly pushed 7,000, which was nice. But overall, it was a strong showing.
Yeah, we're having some fun discussion here coming up, and I didn't even notice this, but Doug brought it up. The National League cards have a black border on the name, and the American League cards have red. I mean, how dumb am I not to have realized that? And he's looking at him really for the first time this week, and he's like, "Hey," I'm like, "Well, I'm stupid." Anyway, also last week, 2018 Bowman Chrome baseball came out. 2018 Panini National Treasures baseball. 2018 TriStar Autograph Baseball Series 10 came out, and 2018 Topps Heritage Minor League Baseball came out Friday. And those boxes seemed pretty nice. I saw one of our buddies, Brian Bice, opened up a box, and it was full of some nice things. You get the youngsters in their minor league jerseys, which is pretty cool. But it's fun trying to see where they go, because these minor league teams are flip flopping left and right now.
It's a pain to checklist.
It's really tough for team collectors to put together an accurate list because, like you said, if our friend Chris Torres was going to help me put together a couple of team sets, and he had some 16 and 17 laying around, and I said, like, hey, if you can throw a team set together this week for me. And, as an A's fan, the River Cats have been a Giants affiliate now for a while, but, since inception, they were with the A's. You start going back 1, 2, 3 years. I actually had to pull up a checklist from Wikipedia or something, showing me all the minor league affiliates over the last couple of years to make sure when I looked at that checklist, I was looking for the right teams. Because, right now I'd be looking for Nashville. Next year I'm going to be looking for Las Vegas.
Yep.
Right.
It's a little confusing. So, if you're out there and you're collecting minor leagues, if you're a team collector, you might want to either ask for some help or, just be a little more diligent when you're looking at that checklist, because it's really, really easy to overlook. There are very few minor league teams that actually call themselves the same, mascot name or, nickname as the major league club.
Branding, yeah.
Yep. Well, we're going to hop right into hot off the presses, and boy, is it going to be hot in here today. My phone was on fire. The Twitter, I had to shut it down for a minute because my Twitter app was smoking.
It's currently charging, so
we have week 30 of Topps Living, week of October 3rd through the 9th. Card number 88, Manny Machado, shortstop, Los Angeles Dodgers, 6 Dodger. Why? Card number 89, Jack Flaherty, pitcher, St. Louis Cardinals, the rookie. He's the 4th Cardinal. And card number 90, Adrian Beltre, 3rd baseman, Texas Rangers. He's the 2nd Ranger we've had. So why Machado? Like, legitimately. The funny thing is Machado's wearing 8. He's card 88. But why a second card so early for Machado when there's so many other guys we could do, so many other teams? And it's not even mad that I lost the bet to spend $10 on a couple of crappy Maguires to give to Ben. The fact is that why a second guy so soon when it's not like he is, you would say, one of the top 5 or 10 players in baseball? Why? Answer me.
We talked about this, back in July when Machado was
maybe
rumored, and I think I used. Yeah, I know the Diamondbacks were going after him, so I used them as an example to kind of illustrate Orioles, Diamondbacks, Phillies, for instance. And of course, he went to the Dodgers, and I really think that this is just Topps trying to capitalize on, the Machado. This is really their last chance during the season over the next week or two, with the Dodgers still being in the playoffs. Yeah, I honestly did think they were going to make him, but I thought they might have waited till November or December to kind of throw that out there. But
he's going to be an update, though. He's going to be an update next week or in 2 weeks.
Kind of promotes it. It's cross promotion. It's actually smart on their part, even though as collectors we might be frustrated with it. It also illustrates the two rules. What were the two rules that they had? No one could be made twice unless they get traded or signed as a free agent. The second rule was, right now their intention is never to have autographs or serial numbered parallels. But yeah, I was a little disappointed, although I did win the bet. I would have just as easily been okay buying you a 75 Brett not to have him, since we've talked in depth about the teams that are underrepresented and certain players that we'd like to see made. But hey, none of us should be shocked. You can be frustrated, but don't be upset. We knew it was coming.
No, it just
yeah.
More of Topps being Topps.
I had explained to my coworker today about the bet, and she's like looking at me like I'm stupid. Like, I don't understand anything you say. And I'm like, I won the bet.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is going to be a week like last week where you're going to have an underperforming rookie. You have a guy in Beltray, and we're going to get to him a lot more later in the show. That could do okay, and Machado's probably going to sell the most. But if he cracks over 6,300, I'm going to be really surprised.
Sounds like another bet, Ben. Double down.
I actually told Tim, I said I'd be okay without the McGuires. Yeah, he'd buy me lunch or something. I'm cool. We got to get together.
Yeah, but it might be cheaper for me to buy you 2 McGuires. Right. So last time he sold 6,516 cards, which right now ranks 31st. He won't hit that number.
No. Honestly,
I even take it back. If he hits 5,900.
I honestly think he'll be in the low fives on the high end. I think 53 or 54 is the cap. It wouldn't surprise me if he comes in at 47, 48, honestly.
Yeah.
Because they've already made one. And Dodgers fans aren't, at least Oriole fans had the loyalty there that he's been there for a few years. He was their superstar, face of the franchise. Dodger fans aren't loyal to him. They just like him because he's, can you get us that World Series or not? It's been 30 years.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be longer because they're going to flame out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But, they're the Dodger loyalty, and we know they're not very loyal anyway. They're get there at the 3rd inning, leave at the 7th inning, read a book while you're there anyway. So, honestly, if you're not bringing in Dodger fans, you're bringing in living fan sets, and I just don't think there's going to be a big market for him. I could be wrong, but I think 48 to 53 is probably the range where he settles.
Okay, well, we're going to move on to more things that make me happy, and I need to get a shot glass here because according to some of our listeners, I need to drink every time we talk about 2017-18 basketball. We have more, folks. 17-18 Panini Impeccable basketball launched today. By the way, guys, preview, again, we still have at least 2 or 3 more 17-18 products in the preseason for the 18-19 season on. And real quick, I was reading today, I got an alert, so we have 17-18 basketball this week coming out. I had a report pop up about the 1920 season, about Durant playing as Nick, so no one cares about 18-19. We're going to just skip the season, move on.
And it was a great draft. It was a great draft.
Yeah, this is driving me nuts.
It was deep. I mean, you may not have an uber star at the top like Tatum turned into, and there were a lot of big names.
Yeah.
But man, we talked about
we're skipping 18-19. We're going to skip the 18-19 season. We're just going to move on to the 19-20 season. 18-19
could have easily 12 to 15 guys who have multiple All-Stars under their belt 10 years from now. Yeah. Easily.
So to get back to the product here with Impeccable, as Ben and I are going to lose our minds tonight, and Steph just sits there and eats his popcorn because he thinks the two of us are insane. We have basketball. If you have $550, you can get a box. You're going to get 1 pack in this box. It's going to have 9 cards. A box break is going to yield you 5 autographs, and you're going to get 1 silver NBA logo, or a gold NBA logo, or a stainless stars insert, which is interesting. You're going to get a 100-card base set, all numbered to 99. They're all vets, and there's 3 parallels. But then the rookie cards are all autographed. They're a 20-card set, all numbered to 99 with 3 parallels as well. And then they have a rookie elegance jersey autograph set as well with 39 cards. So you get some additional rookies in this one. Again, all numbered to 99 with 3 parallel sets. There's over 10 autograph sets and 3 relics. Saw a little bit of this today. It's a neat looking product, as Steph brings it up here.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I actually saw that Dirk right there that you have pulled up, the Dirk auto. I saw that get pulled, one of those similar to that. It's, you know, it is what it is. You want the hits out of it. You want the autos. You're, you know, the gold and silver cards are okay. Don't buy this if you don't buy it out of a sealed case, just due to the weight of those metal cards, because they can be weighed. So they're going to weigh more than the other ones. So because a case, I think, gives you 1 gold and 1 silver, if I believe to be true. It's a fun break thing to get into and get the hits, but you know, it's basketball. It's last year. You're still just looking to chase the autos of those top rookies, and if lucky enough to get like a Durant or, you know, Kobe.
So I don't collect basketball, but this my phrase of the day, since we were talking on Twitter about stuff, is this begs the question. So this is the question: is since 17 and 18 is getting so far pushed back into the 18-19 preseason, does this mean 18-19 gets pushed back far into 19-20? Or if 19-20 has a big, you know, top of the name class with 2 or 3 huge names, does 18-19 have a shorter collecting window? You know,
no, I think it's all the same.
So that's just going to be the new norm, that every preseason we're still collecting rookies of last year's stuff.
Well, and I think part of the problem is that they want to, on these high-end products, they're trying to do all on card and no stickers. Right. So, yeah.
I guess it's frustrating. You know, I know we were talking about this earlier in a private DM about, you know, baseball's a little different because it's encompassed within a calendar year. So 2018 is 2018 period. But with the other 3 major sports, they cross over to calendar years. You have to have a line, and the draft is fair. Once these guys get drafted, maybe one more release, and the first release of the new year is, you know, especially like in football, is the college one. And then as soon as these guys start having pictures where you can catch them in training camps, then you move on. And basketball should be the same thing. Is once June hits, you know, July 1 should mark the calendar of now we want to start seeing the 18-19 class or the 19-20 class and so on.
Yeah, it's not going to happen with high-end products. You feel the same way, Steph?
Yeah, no, especially if they're going to try to make it so that they're all on card. You're just not going to see it. It's not going to happen. They can't reliably get players to sign ahead of time. Plus, you have the headaches of authentication and everything else. Unfortunately, it's going to delay. And actually, one of the Panini guys was at the last show that I went to, was actually talking about the set. And the only reason I know is because they had the bricks of gold and silver in them. And he had the same frustrations as everyone else did, that it's pushed this far late into the next season. I mean, it's basketball, but still. Those sports that start in October, November, that run through, you know, May and June, it's a headache to, well, when do you stop?
Yeah. Yep. It's just one of those things you run into. But I mean, as a collector, though, if you're collecting the stuff and it's the highest end of the highest end for you, you're going to want the on-card auto. You're not going to want a sticker auto, and you're going to that's where we're at. So, moving on, 2018 Panini Illusions Football came out today. 140 a box, 10 packs, 5 cards per pack. You're going to get 3 autos. You're going to get 1 autograph. You're going to get an autograph relic. And then in a separate package, you're going to get an autograph box topper, which is encased. And it's actually not a topper. It's actually below it. You have two. You're going to get 2 MIMs, 5 inserts, 6 base parallels, 3 insert parallels. It's a 100-card base set. And Steph on the screen here has a picture. You're going to get a current player paired with a retired player. So this is Sam Darnold in color paired with Joe Namath in black and white. So a current team with a vet. Another interesting one is you had Baker Mayfield and Vinny Testaverde with the Browns, but you have Jameis Winston and Steve Young with the Buccaneers. They couldn't do like Doug Williams or Vinny Testaverde or Dilfer. I don't know. They also have a set where it's number matching, and they have Kareem Hunt and Eddie George, which is kind of neat, is one of the inserts. So there's over 20 autograph sets. There's 6 relic sets and 5 insert sets. So they have some cool dual signatures where they have the Griffin brothers. They have a couple rookie teammates like Chubb and Mayfield together. So good stuff. There's a few stickers in this product. Again, as they're still working through the stickers they got from the signing. Steph's here stuck on an Adam Iva Thielen autograph.
Let's see. I'm all for these. I think the number one is cool. Anytime you have, say like a Khalil Mack with a Derek Thomas type thing, and obviously Thomas is no longer with us, so rest in peace. He was a great player, but when you have these comparisons, these lineage ones where you're comparing 2 players like a Jameis Winston, who's not the most popular quarterback, and Steve Young, who was only in Tampa for a short period of time,
and stunk.
Yeah, it'd be like Jimmy Garoppolo and Elvis Grbac. Really? I know the Niners, lineage with Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
You can do better than that. Jimmy Garoppolo and G.T. O'Sullivan.
Yeah, or Jim Druckenmiller. The Niners had a lot. Yeah, I mean, even if you did Jeff Garcia without getting to the 2, big names, but yeah, if you're gonna do these lineage ones as a collector, and I pull it out of a pack, I'd be a little disappointed if I have to think about, Winston and Steve Young. Steve Young was a Buccaneer. Some of us know that, some of us don't. But it shouldn't be that way. If it was Darnold and Joe Namath, everybody knows Joe Namath. But if it was, name a random, oh look, I got a Sam Darnold and Neil O'Donnell.
I got a Sam Darnold and a Geno Smith. Oh yeah, no. So it's a good idea. I like it, but the vets needed to be picked a little better. There was Tyrod Taylor and Jeff Garcia for the Browns. That might have been one of my other favorite ones I saw. I was dying.
We were talking about that big booklet the other day, the 40-player booklet.
Yep.
And from Diamond Icons or whatever it was from. And I mean, do you think you should really do a 25-player booklet starting with Tim Couch and ending with Baker Mayfield and all the quarterbacks that have played for the Browns since '99? Dude, that would be a badass card.
Would it sell for $10?
Oh yeah, it would definitely sell. I'd buy it for $10 for sure. No, so I mean, it's another one. Yeah, this is going to be one where you're just chasing down the hits out of it and grabbing those rookies. 2018 Panini Flawless Collegiate Football came out today. It's only $1,250 a box. 1 pack per box, 10 cards. You're going to get 6 autos, 2 MIM, and 2 gym cards. They have a base set, if you want to call it, of 61 cards, all numbered to 20.
I'll call it an insert set.
2 parallels. And they have 20 plus autograph sets and 5 relic sets. So it's going to be what you think. They're all in their college uniforms, which is cool if you're a college collector. I know that I saw they had Peyton Manning here in Tennessee with Jason Witten, both playing at Tennessee on a dual card, which is pretty awesome. Brady in Michigan. You're going to get Deshaun Watson at Clemson. You're going to get some pretty cool patches out of these guys. And, what you expect out of Flawless. But like Ben said earlier, we're already into the now 5th week of the NFL, and there's already really nice cards of these guys in their NFL uniforms. This product should have probably been released the 3rd or 4th week of the preseason, so we could have been still excited because that's right when college football's kicking off. So again, you can collect your teams, and these guys haven't started their professional career, with a real regular season game. So. It's flawless. It's neat. It looks good. But if you're a college collector, if if my team drafted Mayfield, if I'm a Browns fan, I really don't want to chase Oklahoma autos. I'm much rather chase, Cleveland Brown autos.
It's nice though because college is really the only college football, I should say, is the only collegiate product that college basketball, especially now with the one and dones, isn't nearly as collectible as college football. And there's a lot of places like Notre Dame and Nebraska, and I don't follow college football, so Tim, I know you can name a lot more cities where that's your NFL team. That's also your baseball team. That Nebraska has no professional teams in the state.
Iowa comes to mind.
Yeah,
Nebraska.
A lot of those flyover states. These are their NFL, NBA, and Major League Baseball team all wrapped up into one. It's ingrained into your soul from when you were a little kid that this is your team. And so for them to go back and honor some of the collegiate greats of yesteryear, like Peyton Manning that is being shown right now by Stephen and some of the other ones, I think it's cool. The timing may be a little off by a few weeks, but at the end of the day, if I'm a college football fan who kind of dabbles into the NFL to follow my favorite collegiate football players as pros, I'm excited. This is a cool product. Yeah, it's a little pricey, but dude, the cards are fantastic.
But I'd much rather spend my $1,250 on flawless NFL versus flawless collegiate.
Or mortgage payment, maybe.
Yeah, but if you're spending that on a ball, you know what I'm saying? So, moving on, we have a nice product. It's going to be a little better on the wallet. 1819 NBA stickers collection basketball from Panini. $40 for a box, and you're going to get 50 packs.
But it's 1819.
Yes, it's 1819.
Are they allowed to do that?
Yeah, I think so. 50 packs, 5 cards per pack or stickers, and the set has 250 stickers. So you're going to get, pretty close without, you're probably getting some dupes in there, but you can trade and get the book, and those are going to be available retail. And the stickers always fun. I opened a box of 82 stickers like over the last month before and after each show. I finished it last week. Of 82 stickers. It's awesome, man. Like, it makes me want to do the stickers. So those are always fun. And that was just like a last minute ad here, but that was fun. And then also, here we go. I know this is what Ben's been saving his pennies for. 2018 Topps Archive Signatured Retired Player Edition came out today for about $42 a pack. You're getting 1 pack per box, 1 card per pack. You're getting an encased buyback autograph. So it's the TTMs. Well, no, not necessarily the Topps version of the TTM. 77 subjects, all serial numbered. Many players have multiple versions with varying print runs, meaning that they're going to have multiple cards of the same. A player could have multiple different cards in there, and they're all going to have different serial numbers.
I'm gonna go collect all of my Mark McGwire, all 18 of the one-of-ones that they released. I mean, this is fantastic. I mean, so I may have to go take out another loan or something because this is my favorite product of the year.
Cards are stamped with postseason with the postseason logo.
Yeah, they are.
Some of the cool names I found on here: Bo Jackson, Juan Gonzalez, but you can get a TTM from Juan Gonzalez. He signs for everybody. Mark McGwire, Roberto Alomar, and the Chicken Man, Wade Bucks.
I'm in love with this set. Now we're even. I love this set.
There's also this one that was called Special Autographs, and I was trying to figure out why it was special, and it's because all the guys I believe on the list are deceased. Jim Hunter, Mark Fidrich, Ted Williams, Warren Spahn, Monty Irvin were a few I picked off.
I believe so. Yeah.
All those guys are deceased, unfortunately.
Yeah, there are a bunch more on there.
Wow, there's a lot of senators.
Yeah, so Steph might be out.
Sorry, Ed Yost, Roy Sievers, Sam Melee.
Steph's going to Indeed.com to apply for another 8 jobs right now.
No, he's going to be out working in the streets of Dallas, guys. If you want to get out there tonight and see him. He's gonna be working at the Whataburger on the corner there.
Imagine what
he's gonna bring. He's gonna shake it for
James Reynolds.
He's shaking harder than a Polaroid picture.
Yeah, his milkshake's bringing all the boys to the yard. And this is a family podcast. So again, we talked about this one earlier with the current players. It's the buyback card. They never had an auto on it before. They had these guys sign, they encased it and stamped it and labeled it, and secondary market. I mean, $42 isn't bad, but you probably get a lot of these guys for half of that. So you get 2 for the price of 1 if you wait to let somebody else open it.
We talk a lot of mess about it because it does look kind of janky. It looks like a through the mail, but they're not bad. I mean, they're encased, and if you're a player collector, definitely grab them on the secondary market. Grab your guy, but overall, yeah, they're.
So this is what I'm going to do this winter. I'm gonna partner with one of the guys on Twitter that does a lot of TTMs and see what the best way to go about it is. And then I'm going to send out a whole bunch of cards during spring training. And then what I'm going to do is when I get all those cards, then I'm going to number them and I'm going to emboss them and I'm going to get mags. I'm going to put the cards in a magnetic. I'm going to print out little labels that say Big Chef's Archives, and then I'm going to sell them all. I'm going to put them in envelopes and then have you guys randomly pick numbers and buy them from me for $60.
I may or may not know somebody who has a PSA type stamper.
This is illegal. We are so in business.
About the cards, buyback, preseason, spring training,
non-retired edition.
Unretired.
If the IRS our government is listening, this is all for fun. Maybe.
The money is going to charity, which is Tim's.
We will pay we'll pay our 40% taxes. Come on. And the A season is over.
It was cheaper to do.
That was quicker than the Cub season.
Guys, I'm sad, dude. I'm mad.
Are you gonna cry?
I just bought an 8-pack of paper towels, dude. I got a lot of tears in this little head. Luckily, I got a beard to catch them all.
I'm just going to pause it here on Ben's face so we can just watch the sadness. Why did you mute Ben? That is so mean.
That way we don't have to hear the crying.
I want to hear the sobs. I was going to listen to it. It's going to put me to sleep tonight. Listen to him just cry.
Here's the thing, guys. I now need to go
for making the playoffs from two guys that had teams that had I had 100 and something lost season with the Royals, and I'm not even sure
500.
30 and 34 on June 12th. I mean, the fact that I'm even watching an A's game is pretty incredible. You know, they had a great year, and the Yankees should have won. They had the better team on paper with a payroll that's 2.5 times as high as the A's.
But hey, I'd much rather have the Yankees than the Red Sox. For whatever reason, I just can't stand the Red Sox. Maybe it's their fans. Maybe I don't know.
The ALDS is going to be off the hook. Off the hook. I mean, it's going to be. I mean, there's going to be potentially 5 games that are going to last about 12 days. But yeah,
I'm excited. It's going to be a good postseason. I mean, if you did not enjoy Monday, that was the 11th and 12th 163rd game they've had in Major League Baseball history, and we had 2 of them. There's only been 12.
Same day.
We had 2 on the same day. I almost didn't do it.
First time that's happened.
Yeah, the other stat that they had last night that was impressive was no team in the history of baseball has ever played 10 straight games going in to the playoffs. But due to that game 163, both the Rockies and Cubs last night, both have played 10 straight games prior to that. So it was, just a statistical anomaly that really only happens in baseball.
And that's why baseball is so awesome. And anybody can win. Like this might be one of the better, and it's hyperbole because we always say, "Oh, this is the greatest. This is the best." Like legit, like we have some young talents, some new blood on teams. This is going to be a really fun postseason. Like I'm so stoked.
Oh, last night's game was ridiculous, stupid, and my wife kept getting up. She's like, "The game's still on," and she went to bed early because she wasn't feeling well. I said, "I literally will stay up until midnight local time if I have to." And I said, this fucking thing goes 18 innings. I don't care. I said, I'll be up. I'll go into work late tomorrow if I have to.
One of my favorite games of all time was Game 7 of the 2017 or 16 World Series with the Cubs and the Indians, and then we had a rain delay.
Yeah,
right.
What was that? I will stay up until I have to go to work tomorrow to watch this game. Like that was amazing. So, talking about new blood, 2018 Panini Contenders Draft Picks Baseball comes out Friday. This is something I'm going to be looking into. It's $130 some odd a box. You're going to get 6 packs per box, 18 cards per pack. You're going to get 6 autos, so 1 auto a pack and a parallel in the box. It's a 25 card base set with the season tickets, which has 7 parallels. And then the season tickets also have variations, and then those have 7 parallels. So really you have, the same card 16 times. Just different parallels and names on it. There's 8 autograph sets and 3 insert sets in here, and it's all the tickets and stuff that you always get with contenders. Mm-hmm. So there are some really good prospects to watch in this. You have the first pick, Casey Mize, who's a Tiger. The second pick, Joey Bart. He's a catcher with the Giants. You have the third pick, Alex Baum, which is a third baseman for the Phillies and went to Wichita State, which is the guy I'm looking after. You have Nick Mangrel, shortstop from the White Sox. He was the fourth pick. He's out of Sacramento, which is pretty cool. You have Jonathan India, the fifth pick, went to the Reds. He's a middle infielder. And another guy, Brady Singer, he went 18th to the Royals. He's a pitcher, but he was supposed to be like one of the top 5 picks. He had some issues and fell. And it's not just because he's a Royal, but because he was one of the highly touted guys. You also can get Roger Clemens autos in here. They had some really good vet autos, as Steph's showing with the cards. You know, it's the contenders look. It's in their college uniforms. Alex Baum is great. I'm excited. He's a big third baseman. He's like 6'6", 6'7", playing third base for the Phillies. I don't know if he stays there his whole career, but
he's probably gonna have to move to first base or corner outfield.
Got some pop. I'm excited about Bart, always with the Giants, but it's gonna be one of those neat sets, and you're gonna have to buy it and hold on to it unless you hit somebody big and you flip it. So a lot of these names you're gonna see 3-4 years from now. You can get a nice return on your price. I mean, you're spending $140, you're gonna get 6 guaranteed autos, and
is Contenders the new Elite Extra Edition?
I don't know if they're coming out with Elite Extra Edition because that's usually minor leagues, because this is a collegiate. These guys are all in their collegiate uniforms, so they might still have that with the minor leaguers. There's only 25 guys in this set.
Yeah, because Elite was always a good value box for people that are just looking
prospecting
to get good. Yeah, if you're prospecting, if you're looking for guys, that are, with your team. I think it was always like $80 or $90 a box, but you got 6 autos guaranteed, and there was usually 7 or 8 in there.
So the guys in the checklist that aren't rookies, you had AJ Puck, Barry Larkin, Bo Jackson, Reggie Jackson, Craig Biggio, Winfield, McGuire, Nick Stenzel,
Fred Lynn, Frank Thomas.
So about Ozzie Smith and Molitor. So about half the list are guys that are retired or are coming up, and the other part are you have some youngsters in there, and then all the autographs where the
another McGuire.
It's a crazy set, man. There is a lot to this, lots of inserts, lots of different autograph sets, but something definitely to check out. And the last one, Friday, we had a lot of come out this week. 2018 Best of Leaf Best of Baseball. That's easy to say. Leaf Best of Baseball, $175 a box. You're getting one pack. It has 2 cards. One is one of the Leaf Best of Baseball base cards, and then you're getting one buyback. Your buybacks in there. They showed in their sell sheet, whereas they have 2018 Bowman, Shohei Ohtani Chrome autos, a Jim Mint 10. 89 Upper Deck Griffey, 2013 Bowman Aaron Judge Chrome Auto, 68 Nolan Ryan rookie, and there was graded. So that's what you'll look in there. It's going to be some of the most sought after cards will be purchased in there and repackaged. And here's Steph showing some of the base cards. So it's a picture of the player minus any logos, and just says Leafs best of baseball in there. It's got a little pinstriping in the background. Not a bad-looking base card. No. It'll have one of those in there. And there are always going to be some stars or some upcoming prospects will be the guys in there, and then you're going to get the thing you're chasing. So those are always fun breaks to look and check out. And also when they're throwing in mixers and stuff, they always kind of add some cool value.
Well, yeah, it kind of just evens out, gives some people that might not have hit an opportunity to maybe grab something.
Yep.
Kind of averages out the overall hits, and those are a lot of the non-licensed stuff are actually really fun and good cards. I mean, Leaf makes a good product. Panini makes a good product once in a while. Usually they do. UC's a little bit of a problem.
The Contender stuff's always pretty cool.
Contenders is a solid product. I mean, basketball.
I like the fact the way they've done with basketball, football, and now having this baseball. It's kind of neat. So what's brewing? What's on next week's release schedule? It's lights. 2018 Panini Impeccable Football, not basketball. But we had this week. Football's next week. And 2018 Gold Label Baseball. And both releases next week are on Friday. There wasn't really anything listed for Wednesday. So the week after, we have update.
Big day.
But we also have Topps Stranger Things.
I might be having to buy my wife a box of that for Christmas.
Oh boy.
Same here.
Oh boy. Yeah. Because that show, oh boy. That's all I gotta say. Oh, that's gonna be some hotness right there. I'm telling
I
you.
want to see the cards before I go ahead and buy it, but
but there's gonna be some hotness with Stranger Things. We don't talk non-sport or entertainment in here, but I will definitely make sure we talk about that.
Why don't we talk more? We talked about it with Ryan.
Yeah,
we're about the cards, not about the sports cards.
We don't talk about hockey, by the way. If you guys noticed,
Canadian
chatter because we're not. We're
Can't talk to myself.
Hey, I know things. You have the Hartford Whalers.
Oh, my Washington
Capitals Nordiques
won a championship, I think.
Right. You have the Winnipeg Jet. Well, they came back, so I guess that's not really there. The Atlanta Flames, or the Calgary Flames.
That one team that's in Denver.
Calgary Flames still exist.
Oh, do they? Okay. Well,
Eric Lindros is a good prospect I've heard about.
Yeah.
Mario Lemieux,
Yeah.
I love hockey.
Daigle is the guy. Alexander Daigle. I heard he's really good.
Probably not.
If I could spell half their names, I think I'd be more interested. I will say this.
Rick DiPietro.
I've seen
that's a name I've tattooed on my back. Rick DiPietro.
Plenty of Upper Deck cards and plenty of Leaf cards that Panini cards in the past that have made me want to collect hockey.
Yeah, there are some sharp ones. Hey,
I'm gonna have the best.
Steph, do you want to vomit because of the names we've just said? Because can you?
No, I'm surprised you skipped over the North Stars. That would have hit a nerve. Fuck Norm, by the way.
Paul Solani, who used to play for the Anaheim Mighty Ducks.
I like the Mighty Ducks, though.
So I was really quick before we move on. So Lids had a thing 2 for $50 the other day, and to buy New Era hats, right? And so I was like, cool. Let me look because I think I'd really like to have an Edmonton Oilers hat. I think they have a cool logo. They have a neat history. They have McDavid and all this stuff.
Gretzky,
they don't have fitted hats. All they have is flipping dad hats. Most of the hockey teams didn't have fitted hats. They're all dad hats. What kind of yahoos enjoy hockey? I was trying to find a cool hockey hat I was going to wear on the show Steph some support. None of the teams I tried to buy a hat for had a fitted hat.
Hey, Steph, why don't they have hats, eh?
Hey.
Because they have toques.
Anyway, we're moving on to Infield Chatter, the hobby talk section, and this kind of is going a little over hobby talk and into some more into maybe a little sports talk tonight. The first thing is we have a fun show here. We don't try to ever be real too serious about anything, and it's sports cards. It's fun to do, but I wanted to bring up something today. I got an announcement, and I'm real quick, guys. The president also texted me. I was not only on Mojo Breaks podcast, but the president sent me a text message today to say what's up.
So you are up to Ben's level of ego. Gotcha.
I got a like on Twitter from Gary V.
Linda Cohn liked one of my tweets during Sports Center she was reporting on, and
Gary
sent her the tweet.
It's gonna be called Gary V and me,
I can't wait till Ben's off the show and we replace him.
Right. Angela is available.
There we go. I mean, hell, I'll take anybody. Is that like a homeless guy down the street here? So as we get into this, Addison Russell. So today I got an alert and that he was suspended for 40 games by Major League Baseball for violating their domestic violence policy. And not to get too much into that and that issue. I mean, that's a very serious thing and it's something that's not taken lightly. And he's one of the handful of players this has happened to. And not, I know like Jose Reyes was suspended for a while. Derek Norris, I don't know if he was suspended, but I know he had some allegations there. It's something we don't take lightly here on the show. It's something that, to me shouldn't happen, but besides the point, my question to you guys tonight is this guy was a very hot prospect, and Ben knows this as an A's prospect. And even when he got traded to the Cubs, when the Cubs ransacked the A's, and he was a big part of the World Series team a couple years ago. He's, currently was a good part of this team. He hadn't been playing that well this season. And, Baez has moved over and played short. They brought in Murphy to play second. So he got kind of lost there. And then on top of it, this happened. He's been away from the team. His manager, I guess, stands behind him. But how does this affect his career? But also, what does this do with his collectability of his cards going forward?
So two points, and then I'll get to the cards. One, without knowing any of the details, because none of it's lit out, it's really kind of hard to draw a proper comparison. because really only the league and his agency knows what truly what happened. Even less so. However, you get popped for steroids or drugs, 81 games, but this gets 40 games. Somehow that's not the way you think it would go. Maybe the CBA needs an adjustment. But as far as its collectability, obviously it's going to take a bit of a hit. We saw it seemingly every offseason. Either someone gets popped for drugs or domestic abuse or shooting themselves or an incident gone awry that commands the headlines that may draw people to see, well, what's his stats? Should I sell all of his cards now? And you'll likely see that. So if you want to stand by him, now will probably be the best time to pick up some cards, just because they're probably going to be available and they're probably going to be cheap.
Right. I it's so tough. I mean, we don't want to get into the discussion about domestic violence. I think everybody can agree. Sure. Nobody endorses this. Okay. Right. So we all have favorite teams across all the sports in which players have made questionable decisions, if not just downright criminal ones. I had an opportunity to meet Addison a few years ago at a Stockton Ports game. He was very gracious with his time. He signed for my daughter. He stood and talked with us for a few minutes. He was a very good, respectful kid, right? But we don't know what happens beyond closed doors. Based on everything I've seen, I made a very definitive comment about him being a piece of something the other day on Twitter. I mean, if that's who he truly is, then that's who he is. So without getting into a lot of that, I do have a personal experience with him that was positive. If the allegations are in fact true, he deserves to have a bigger suspension. And, I'll pray for his ex-wife who did not deserve that, I am sure. Having said all that, now comes the question about he and so many players that have come before him, whether it's, Derek Norris, who also was a former Oakland A, who I've got cards of him in my personal collection, guys like Asuna with the Houston Astros. These guys are going to get another opportunity. If his Cubs career is over, one of the other 29 teams will bring him in. Why? Because he can play. And that's unfortunate. And that opens a Pandora's box of a different discussion. If I want to liquidate all of my Derek Norris and Addison Russell non-base cards? Yeah, the thought crosses my mind. I'd keep the base cards because they're part of the team set. But why do we buy cards that aren't? I mean, why are we in this hobby? We collect what we like, right? I put almost everything I have in binders. I'm flipping through binder pages and I get to my Addison Russell collection, and my first thought is, this guy apparently beat his ex-wife. Do I want to celebrate that in my personal collection? Do I want that as part of my collection? Because to me, it just makes that part of my collection a little dirty. It's like I don't know that I would sell it necessarily, but I might have to take those cards and out of my binders and set them aside while I consider whether or not I should sell them. Yeah. Because I don't know if I want to celebrate that and enjoy that. I don't know if I want my Addison Russell cards touching the next player in the binder cards. You know what I mean? I don't know if I want to be flipping.
You don't want that kind of thought to come through your head when you're trying to enjoy what you have in your collection.
You're looking through your collection to enjoy it, right? And then I get to Derek Norris and go, because Derek Norris made a horrible comment too about women deserving it or something. Yeah. And it's just like, so not only did you do what you did, but then you make a comment to try to downright justify it.
Well, that's why if on a lighter note, when I flip through and I see Gary Thurman cards in my Royals collection and go, God, he should have been good, Gary. Kevin Seitzer. So it's one of those things. I just kind of wanted to bring it up. It's not like he's a superstar at this point, but again, he was a very highly touted prospect and is part of a very collectible team. And people have been, chasing him down for a few years. So,
but on the show, we always talk about collect what you like.
Yep.
And collect what makes you happy. And this is indicative of that. Is how many times have we all, just the three of us shifted our card collecting? Should I collect that? Should I? Tim asked today, should I pick up the Don Mattingly living card? I asked the week before that, should I pick up the Joey Votto? And it's like, you're shifting your thoughts. And it's like, yeah, I wanted Addison Russell because he was the next big prospect with the A's. I love me some Derek Norris because, he had the beard and he just looked rough and tumble. But then you find out about these guys' personal lives. And it's like, do I keep him or not? I don't know everything about every other player. So maybe some of those guys are also equally as bad. I hope not, but we don't know.
Yeah, Chris Torres in the chat here said, it took me nearly 5+ years to finally rid myself of my Thomas Howard collection. He was a Raider who killed himself and another driver, and he's driving too fast back in 2013. So,
yeah, we all have to make that decision ourselves. And ultimately, that's what it comes down to, is collect what you like. And right now, I have a personal decision to make as to whether or not I should purge myself of any Addison Russell and Derek Norris card that is a non-base card. And I preface that by saying, because, they are part of the base set.
Yep.
And that's a little different. I can look past the base card, but autos and relics are specific. Those are things I went and sought out beyond a team set to enjoy. And if I can't enjoy the man, like I said a couple weeks ago.
Whoa. Newsflash.
That's what she said. I said a couple weeks ago when we were talking about Sean Manaea and how pleasant he was to my son, wanting to fist bump him, and my son being shy. And it's like, I can enjoy Sean Manaea because he was nice to my kid, and I appreciate that. And as long as nothing bad comes about Sean Manaea, I can enjoy his career.
Yeah.
And right now, I don't have that feeling with Addison Russell.
Yeah. Well, I want to move on to something happier. Pie. So we put out a poll earlier in the week. Steph sent it out. Graded or valuable cards in a complete set. There were 87 votes. I think it was a day, 24-hour period that you had to set up for, Steph. Mm-hmm. The options were keep it safe, scan or print a copy for the binder or set. The other options were keep it graded but pick up a poor quality card for the binder or set. Keep it separate but leave an empty space in the binder. And then pie. So the number one response was pie, 36%. Which the answer is
trolls.
What's pi squared equal? More pie. Yeah. It's always better to have more pie than just some pie.
So Steph, why don't you say where this came from? What presented this question in your noggin?
So I've been going over it with my oversupply of pages and going through my binders, trying to catch up, getting them out of the white 5,000 count boxes into Ultra Pro pages and binders, setting them aside and getting them done. And I come to the dilemma of, like, for example, 83 Tyson chicken, which I posted in the thread. I have the Kirby Puckett, the first printed Kirby Puckett card. Before the 84 Foo, before the 85 Tops, it is his first official printed card. Now, it's a minor league, and it's by Larry Fritsch, and say what you want about that. However, I don't feel safe putting a $100+ card in a binder and just putting it on a shelf. Whereas, if it was just a standard, well, it's a Rod Carew rookie, but it's in poorer condition and I can always upgrade or get a graded one later, yeah, I'll put that in there. But so it brought up the question, well, do you put that in there as it is, a single base card, put it in the binder, or do you not put an empty page there? Do you sleeve it and just ignore that there's a space there, or as someone suggested, get a reprint or any of the repros that have been done over the years? The issue being, in one of my other examples, a 55 Killebrew, they don't reprint them at that same size because those are slightly bigger.
Does it make me a chucklehead that my 2011 Topps update trouts in my binder over here?
Not to, I have a lot of high-end cards and binders.
Or my 82 traded Ripken.
When I was a kid, what we would do was, we would binder the 1985 set, which had a lot of big names in it. And then what my dad had me do was pull out all the star cards. So I had a separate box and all the cards were in holders, and the Saberhagen and the Puckett and the McGuire and the Clemens and all of the big names from that particular set were set aside in a box. Now, as you flip through the pages, we had put a little, a 3x5 note card that had been cut down to baseball card size in there saying, card 401 McGuire. If what's the purpose of putting in a binder is to flip through and enjoy it, right?
Right.
So you have the Puckett,
Well, sure, I do.
You have to have it there. You can always go look at it if it's in another more secure spot. If you don't feel safe, that is. When I was a kid, nowadays I'm old enough to know. I've got $100 cards in binders. My 52 tops cards, the high numbers, all three of them are low grade, but they still cost me about $400 total for the three of them. But I also have the 1952 reprint set right with them. So,
Yeah. So and then my thing is we go through this, and then the other responses were keep it graded, but pick up poor quality in the binder, and that got 26%. Scanning it got 8%, and then keep it separate but leave empty space was 30%. So my thing is always pick up a poor quality and put it in there. And we got Steph's picture up here, and it shows the scan of his Puckett and the real Puckett. So it's in there, and he knows he has it. Visalia Oaks. Yep. That's awesome. They're a little local team here. But
if you can get a reprint, that's perfect. If you can do a scan, that's perfect too. I mean, it just, technology is a lot different nowadays than it was years and years ago. Yeah. You could probably even just get a Google image of it and, Photoshop it down. Yeah, crop it down to size and print a color copy of it. What it is, right? Yeah. I mean, we could all do that with a 1909 T206 Wagner. We all could have a
Walter
Wagner
Johnson.
Or Walter Johnson or Eddie Plank or Sherry McGee. You can have them all, while you go search for different ones. In fact, maybe I'll do that. I'll get an Eddie Plank reprint to go because I'm thinking about buying one of the last two cards I need for my T206 set. Just put a Plank, aged reprint in there because odds me ever getting one is probably unlikely. But at least I have one to hold that place.
Well, I thought it was a great topic and a really good, because. Like I said, most of the guys that follow us or listen or gals that follow are collectors, and we collect team sets or player collectors or base sets, and we have these you have this thought like, what do I do? And I had a really hard time sticking that trout in the binder, but I did it. It's in there.
And that's why I threw it out there. It wasn't so much, hey, what should I do personally? Because I didn't do any of the poll options, but it was more of a, hey, what do you guys think of this conundrum, and what option are you going with?
It's a good hobby topic. At the end of the day, everybody's going to do what they feel comfortable with. But keep in mind, even with like a trout, you can always get another one. Now, financially, it might cost you $300 or $400. Who knows what the card ultimately will rest at?
I just send somebody some pictures.
You can always get another one of most of these cards.
Oh yeah.
It just all comes down to finances and resources, and you'd hate to have done something intentionally, but sometimes it happens. I mean, there was one time an oversized Cespedes came to my house, and I ripped that son of a gun right in half, numbered out of 99, and
now it's numbered out of 98.
Yeah, I went to him the next day. I'm like, I can't believe I just did that to a $30 card, and he goes, what were they numbered out of? I said 99. He goes, only you and I know that now there's only 98 of them that exist. And I've got it still somewhere. I'm going to use it as a bookmark or something.
Yeah. So I want to move us along because we got a pretty good topic coming up. I put in another poll myself this week. How do you protect Topps Bowman or Chrome cards and our autos? 64 votes in 24 hours. Now, my two options were magnetic or in top loaders with penny sleeves, because I was told true Bowman collectors don't put Bowman Chrome cards in magnetics with or without the autos. They do a top loader with a penny sleeve. And the poll came back 78% in the top loader favor, 22 in the magnetic, just because of surface issues, I would assume. Have you guys done this, or what would you do?
If it's again, I'm putting all my stuff in binders, but if it's a like autoed or numbered whatnot, I'm not going to put it, just leave it as is. It's going to go in a sleeve and top loader. Or I've seen some people prefer the card savers. Card savers, right? Especially if you're shipping it off to get graded, which I'm surprised that wasn't a poll option. But
well, because I don't like card savers.
Well, who does? But
I love them. They're great bookmarks.
They cut your fingers. No, so it's just a thing out there. Ben, what are your thoughts? What would you? I mean, you're going to put Topps Chrome Auto. You have a Donaldson Chrome Auto.
If I had to vote, I would say, penny sleeve and a top loader. If I had a vote, and that was my choices. What do I do with them? I put them all in binders. Yeah. People I put my relics in looser sleeves, and people are like, "Oh, that's going to ruin the card." I'm like, "Guess what, pal? It's my card.
Yep.
I paid my money with it. If you don't like it, guess what? Don't do it with your cards. I put my cards in there. And if it ruins it, then that's my money."
So this is going to be probably a bigger sports topic than a hobby topic. We can tie it all back together. The Hall of Fame or Hall of Really Good. So I have a handful of players here that have announced or are close to retirement, and the first guy I have up is Victor Martinez, catcher, first baseman, DH. Was a 1996 amateur free agent with the Indians. He's a 5-time All-Star. Been in the playoffs a handful of times. Do you guys consider Victor Martinez in the Hall of Really Good or the Hall of Fame? Really good. And I got a story for you guys later after the show, but just after dark. Indeed. No, I mean he's a great player, and myself especially, seeing him more with him playing with Cleveland and Detroit, but just offhand, I don't see it. I mean, yeah, sure, he started as a catcher and he's played most of his games there, like someone else we know. However, not as well accomplished, and eyeball test. Sometimes you got to go with it. Ben, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. Hall of Really Good, and I think his biggest knock, and we're going to get into a couple of these topics with some of the other players that you're going to list, is he's going to be compared to his contemporaries. However, who are his contemporaries? Are you listing him as a catcher, a first base, or a DH? If you don't let Edgar Martinez in, you can't let him in on the DH. There's other first basemen that have been on that ballot that have fallen off. Was he ever as good as Don Mattingly? You got some steroid. You have McGriff. You got McGuire, who fell off, due to the steroids. There were a lot of players that you're going to reference over the last 20, 30 years and go, they didn't get in, so I can't put him in.
Yeah,
and that to him, his is going to be more of a, sorry, you just weren't as good as this guy, and he didn't make it.
Yeah, had he stayed at catcher a lot of those years, I mean, he even had injuries after he quit playing, after he quit catching. That's maybe something different. Early on, he was a badass, man.
Let me ask you guys Indians teams. Yes or no? Just quick, yes or no? Hall of Famer Derek Jeter.
Yeah,
regrettably.
Okay, just bear with me, guys. Cal Ripken?
Yeah.
Pedro Martinez?
Yeah.
Victor Martinez?
Edgar?
Victor.
Yeah. Oh, Victor, no. It's easy no.
See, that's one of those things is when you start comparing, and I know they're different positions and stuff, but when you look at those guys, it's kind of like the eye test, right? I never once watched Victor Martinez and go, man, I'm watching a future Hall of Famer.
I'm watching greatness.
You're gonna. I know some of the other guys you're gonna name, and we're gonna, basically reference this point. You're gonna say those names, and we're gonna say, "Yep" or "No," and that's really what it comes down to. Is, So, what about you, Shep?
No, he's a Hall of almost really good. Like, I put him on. He let off the list for a reason. He had some year. I think the injuries are what killed him. I mean, he had less than 250 career home runs. He did get over 11. I want to say over 1,100 RBIs.
Yep.
But he spent a lot of his years as a hitter only. And had he stayed, like I said, had he stayed a catcher, it's a different story. Because even those numbers as a catcher would probably be more impressive. But the fact that he played first base and DH, and a guy like McGriff's not in, if the Crime Dog's not in and he hit over 400 home runs, and a guy like Dale Murphy's in, and he hit almost, he had 498 home runs.
See, when you look
398 home runs.
Is Ted Simmons in? No.
Yeah.
So is Fred McGriffin? No. Yeah. Is Edgar Martinez in? No. So
those guys are all I would all say are better than Victor Martinez.
You play fantasy football, and a lot of times you see these rankings and they're listed by tiers, top tiers, and there's usually 2 or 3 names, and then you have that next tier down, and then that third tier. To me, it's like a Hall of Famer. The guys I named, yeah, absolutely, they're Hall of Famers. Okay, that's your tier 1. Your tier 2 is these guys, the McGriffs, the Mattingleys, the Murphys. That they probably should be there, but you can make an equal argument that there's a reason that they Trammell for years. That's why he fell off the ballot. And then there's that third tier. To me, Victor Martinez is in that third tier where he's not even like, he's really close. It's just like, man, he had a hell of a career. Yeah, he had a hell of a career, and he was good for many years for both the Tigers and the Indians. But that was it. It wasn't like I never once thought I was watching greatness. He had some all-star years.
Don't forget when he's a Red Sox. So I want to move on. So Martinez, sorry, bud. Thanks for playing. The next guy is second baseman Chase Utley. He was the 2000 first-round pick of the Phillies. He was a 6-time All-Star, and he was also the 2018 World Series champion. He's with the Dodgers currently. I mean, he spent most of his career with the Phillies. Steph, Hall of Really Good or Hall of Fame?
So I want to make an argument that he deserves consideration, not that I'm putting him in my own personal Hall of Fame, but consideration for sure. He didn't exactly hit 300 home runs or 1,500 RBIs. However, for a few years there, he was putting up pretty good numbers that would earn the nod had he kept it up.
Yep.
Consideration.
Steph, or what's your name, Ben?
Mark.
2 words, Jeff Kent. Is Jeff Kent a Hall of Famer?
That's a thinker.
Is he a shrine? Does he have a current bust? He does not.
No, but he's a thinker, though.
So until he is...
He was also a jackass.
Well,
Chase Utley seems to be a pretty nice guy. Jeff Kent's a jackass.
Didn't he kick somebody or spike somebody and break somebody like the shortstop for the Mets a couple years ago in the playoffs? Look,
that's part of the game.
Look,
I'm talking about this is a person.
I like Chase, and I know we're going to get into something in a little bit in regards to the catching position being undervalued. Second base is right there too. I think that second base is often forgotten.
Sure.
Overall, and I think that's part of the reason that Jeff Kent probably hasn't gotten in, and of course he got overshadowed by Bonds and things when he was playing. To me, if Chase Utley is on my TV right now in January and he's accepting his bust into the Hall of Fame, I'm good. I'm like, all right,
he's got to retire first.
If he's not, I'm good with that too. I don't think he was a Hall of Famer. I think he had a lot of really good years.
Yeah.
But you put Jeff Kent in, I'll listen to Chase Utley. Until then, I'm not listening.
Yeah, because Kent would get in over me just because he has MVP award.
Right.
If you were the best player in your league that year compared to a guy that wasn't, and you have similar stats, the same position and stuff, the MVP would get in first. I mean, that's just me because you were an MVP. Like that doesn't happen to everybody.
We were talking about this the other day with Chris Davis being an MVP candidate or not. And without getting into that discussion here tonight, the point is, if you watched the Giants when Kent was in that lineup, Bonds became a lot more scarier because now all of a sudden you've got a second guy in there protecting him. I got to be worried about Kent and Bonds. Before that, I was like, whatever, man. Bonds comes up, I'm walking him. I really don't care.
Marvin Bernard, baby.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind, Ben, because I'll be using that later.
Bill Miller, and it was one of those things. Once Kent came around, all of a sudden, Bonds, you had to think about pitching to him because Kent was there. Mm-hmm. And with Utley and Philly, and they had Rollins and Howard, and they had other guys up and down that lineup. But never once watching a Phillies game did I ever think, even when Utley was, didn't he won the MVP that one year? Did he not? Or am I mistaken? Utley?
No.
I thought he had an MVP year right after Rollins. But never once did I look at Utley and go, man, he's dangerous. They've got to have to pitch around him. He's going to change their dynamics of how the bullpen is used Jeff Kent, yes. Especially when he was in there with Barry Bonds. And sometimes you have a 1A and 1B like you did with the Giants back then.
So we're going to move on to Utley's former teammate, first baseman Ryan Howard, who was a 2001 fifth-round pick by the Phillies. Spent his entire career with the Phillies. I mean, he signed some minor league deals but never played. He was a three-time All-Star. He was a 2005 NL Rookie of the Year. He was a 2006 NL MVP. Won 2 home run titles in 06 and 08, and he was also the 2018 World Series champion. Now, his All-Star appearances are down just because the National League in those early 2000s were dominated with great first basemen, Pujols being one. McGuire was still around. No, I'm sorry, McGuire wasn't there because Pujols been moved to first, but Derek Lee, he was an All-Star, a boy right there. There were a lot of good first basemen. You had Adrian Gonzalez, all those guys there. We'll lead off with Ben. Ben, Ryan Howard, Subway sandwich fame.
Eat fresh.
Is he a Hall of Famer? Jim Halpert's favorite player.
So, anybody who knows me knows I love The Office. And because the BJ Novak character was named after a minor leaguer at Scranton Wilkes-Barre named Ryan Howard, I mean, you got to give him at least special consideration, like a special wing for him for having the Office character named after him. But no, I mean, Tim, your biggest point as to why you don't think Chris Davis should be an MVP candidate is because he can't play defense, and other than being able to hit home runs, that's it, right? So there's your argument for Ryan Howard. Name one thing other than being able to be a power hitter that he did. Yeah, he was a good power hitter for a while, but that was kind of it. To argue Chris Davis as the MVP candidate is nothing more than that. I'm not saying the guy needs to be enshrined in the canon. And right now, that's the question with Ryan Howard. Ryan Howard was a good power hitter. So was Cecil Fielder and Frank Howard and Rod Deere for a short period of time. There have been a lot of good power hitters over the years. Hell, Brady Anderson hit 51 home runs. But that doesn't make him a Hall of Famer. Ryan Howard's not even in the Hall of Very Good. He's just in the Hall of You Were Good for a couple of years. Thank you for playing.
Steph, what do you feel? How do you feel about Mr. Ryan Howard?
Yeah. I hate to say this, but I'm going to agree with Ben.
Write it down.
Right?
Like I said, today was a good day.
Apparently, you didn't have to use your AK, but no. Great power hitter aside, especially in 06, 58 dingers. But nothing really else to show. 1,400 hits, 1,100, almost 1,200 RBIs. Okay, sure, that comes with hitting home runs. But low batting average that goes with the quote-unquote 3 true outcomes types players, not really much of a defenseman. His sabermetric stats are really poor. Yeah, he's got the World Series title, and that'd be nice, but he was also playing the Rays. So, I mean...
He ultimately, he could be pitched to.
Right.
There are other prolific power hitters like Bonds and McGuire. There was a lot of guys that were full of power.
Frank Howard.
It was tough to pitch to. Ryan Howard, you could pitch to. You get a hold of one, and it's gone. Okay, yeah, you can hit 58 in a home run. Okay. A lot of guys have done that.
Yeah. So, yeah, for me, too, he's in the Hall of... it was decent. It was fun to watch. I did win a fantasy year league because of him in 05 when he was the Rookie of the Year because everybody laughed and said, "Who's Ryan Howard?" So just wait.
I mean, he was in the Hall of... I can't believe the Phillies gave him 5 years and $125 million.
Yeah, right. He was like, hell yeah. And then Subway gave him a bunch of money.
I could just see, I could see him and Chris Davis of the Orioles just like across the bar from each other, lifting their drink, winking at each other.
And Hosmer walks in.
Yeah. Hey, baby.
And Hosmer walks in and goes, "What's up, fellas?" They're like, "Welcome to the club."
That's right. They've got members only jackets. I mean, Ryan Howard was not only am I a customer or the president, I'm the customer, or whatever the old stupid saying says.
Yeah. So we're moving on. We talked about him early in the show. David Wright, third baseman, New York Mets. He was the 2001 first round pick for the Mets. So another 2001 alumni draft class guy here. He was a 7-time All-Star. Injuries cut his career short. Really last impact season was like 14. He was in and out in 15 when they lost the World Series to, well, that's right, the Royals. Thanks, Matt Harvey. Terry Collins. Love you guys. My fans. Favorite. I always love Matt Harvey. Always love Matt Harvey. Come back out, baby. Come back out. Pitch that game. Get all excited to get at it all over again as they replayed highlights of the 14 AL wild card game tonight.
Moving on.
Is David Wright. Sorry, guys. Lost my mind there for a second. It's all about Big Shep tonight, baby. David Wright, Steph. Is David Wright in a Hall of Famer, in the Hall of Really Good, or does he make the New York Mets Hall of Fame?
Mets Hall of Fame for sure.
Did they retire 5?
Retired. Maybe the best candidate so far.
Okay.
And he put in a good 10 years or so, easily.
Well, good. So I ranked these guys appropriately. All right.
But then not much after that.
Yeah. He kind of pitted off there. But again, you got to think that spinal thing and neck thing he had going on really did affect his career, unfortunately. But so Benjamin.
So 2 things about David Wright. And one of these things I'm going to bring up here for one of your other guys. Whenever I'd play a video game, I used to play Out of the Park 6 all the time, which was started in 2005 when David Wright was just a youngin'. I would always make sure he was on my team. Whenever I'd play any video game based on PlayStation, I loved David Wright. He was a phenomenal player for a window. But the second thing is, gosh, his career mirrors Don Mattingly so much. You know, they're beloved in the New York markets, respectively. You know, the injuries got them just enough. But it's one of those things that he didn't quite get there. You know, it's kind of like going up the hill and just kind of putters out right at the top of the hill and he rolled back down. I'd really like to say, yeah, I can't wait for David Wright's speech because personally, especially through Out of the Park, man, I played with him for so many years. I just started a season the other day with him, made sure he was on my team.
Yeah.
You know, I love David Wright, but he's in a hall of what could have been, like Don Mattingly.
Bo Jackson.
They're you know, you can name quite a few players. J.R. Richard potentially. I know he didn't have the longevity. So many players that's just like, man, could you have just given us 3 to 5 more, you know, either more years or better years that weren't cut short. I wish. I want so bad. I love David Wright, and I'm going to have the same argument for the next guy you're going to mention here in a minute. But he missed.
He's not my favorite David Wright, though. My favorite David Wright's a Canadian, by the way. Yes. David Wright, you guys just...
Pat Long Fly Ball.
Yes. He is awesome. He's right there. God, he, like, legitimately, I don't, for whatever reason, never really liked the Mets, you know, but he's probably one of the best Mets of all time. He might be Mr. Met, to be honest. If you think about the Mets' history of players, he probably hands down is the Met, Mr. Met. He's just right there. He needed 2 or 3 more productive seasons, and he's in. He didn't even have to be an all-star, but a couple more productive seasons, he's in. If he was productive through 16, maybe through part of 17, I think he's there, but he just misses, and it's sad. He's a great guy for the hobby for a long time. If you called Topps customer service, he was the guy, the recorded message you heard 1,000 times until somebody picked up the phone.
And he's very charismatic. He's a good-looking dude, has a great smile. He could be the face of a franchise because look at him.
Yep.
You know, he gives you everything you'd want on the surface. It sucks that his body gave out just a hair too early.
The next guy we're going to talk about is a first base DH catcher. He resides in Minnesota with the Twins, and Joe Mauer. He was the 2001 first-round pick by the Twins, number 1 overall. So again, this is the 3rd guy from the 01 class. Pretty good class.
02 Bowman Chrome.
Which I saw boxes of 02 Bowman Chrome you can get for about $65 right now on the Bay.
Nice.
And they were selling for about that. And this is after Wright and Mauer both said they're hanging it up. Mauer hasn't said, but we know he's retired. 6-time All-Star. He was the 2009 AL MVP. 3 batting titles, 06, 09, and 10, which is neat. He didn't win them in 3 different decades, though, like one certain particular Hall of Famer did. But Joe Mauer, and you know what, guys? Because I've heard you guys go back and forth. I want the lead on this.
Go ahead.
So, because I know what you both are going to say. Joe Mauer. Yeah, I do. Joe Mauer is oh so very close, but he's got that finger grasp on the Hall of Fame. And that one finger's hanging there, and it just slips, and that's it.
Thank you.
He's very close. He had a really, really good career as a catcher, and then the concussions came in, and it was awesome. That thing was awesome, and it came out, and he was going to catch, and he caught the one ball, and they stopped, and it was kind of they said it was set up with the White Sox that they were going to throw a ball, and no one would swing because he didn't want to take one more hit and have a concussion. Totally understand. He's a great guy. Joe Mauer did it, and one of my favorite football player of all time is Barry Sanders. He did it the Barry Sanders way. He was humble. He was respectful. He was a guy you could let your kids root for, and you'd be proud that they wore his jersey. He's from Minnesota. He got drafted by the Twins. He had the perfect career. The fact is that when he went to first base in DH, his production did not meet the qualifications of a first baseman or DH in his time period as a Hall of Famer. His catching numbers definitely did. It's just, yeah, he was just short, guys, and I'm sorry about that. But yeah, he's just real close. Awesome guy, though. So we're gonna let Steph close this one out. So I'm gonna go to Ben, and you probably know where Ben's gonna go with this after his reaction. So Ben, I'm gonna limit you just a few seconds, 30 seconds or so. You're on Joe.
You said most of what I was gonna say, honestly, and I what I said about David Wright, same thing. When I played Out of the Park, boom, first two guys, David Wright, Joe Mauer. Love Joe Mauer. There's not a lot of bad things you can say about him. He's just a great guy. Just real quick, I understand how he matches up against Johnny Bench and Yogi Berra and some of the all-time greats as far as WAR and some of the other advanced stats. The thing is, he played 50% of his career as a catcher. He played 50% of his career almost to a T.
It's not career.
Well, okay, games. His games played were 921 at catcher, 937 at first base, DH, and a handful in the outfield, which I believe he had 4 in the outfield. And games is important, okay? And like Tim said, as a catcher, borderline Hall of Famer. One of our friends, Nick, who you can find at Voss Brink, VOSS Brink, on Twitter. We were getting back into it the other day, back and forth, and he brought up a really good question. Is we need to kind of define whether or not we hold. Joe didn't magically become a first baseman because he just chose to. His body, kind of forced him off the position, as it's done to so many players over the years. And do we hold him accountable for that? And how do we measure players that because now we have to look at Joe Mauer against his peers. To me, his peripherals don't quite match up to what they would have needed to be at first base and DH. So we have to look at him in a microcosm. Did he do enough after being a catcher to get in there? And like Tim said, I think he just didn't quite. However, let me go on the record as saying I will be absolutely rooting for him to make it. I do not think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but if he makes it in year 3, 4, or 5, I'll be right there rooting for him. I want to see him make it. I just don't think he's quite there. That's all.
All right. So, Steph, what are your thoughts?
Here's where you guys want me to prove you wrong, huh? Okay. Arguments for you had a pretty good list, and I mentioned it earlier that I was going to bring something back up. Mauer in the lineup with Morneau hitting behind him is a much more dangerous threat than Mauer by himself. Convenient that 2010 Morneau gets knocked out by John McDonald in Toronto. Playing against Toronto anyway. And Mauer's stats also start to decline that year. After that year. It's also when the Twins started to suck. So the one that you missed, in the history of the sport, 6 seasons have had a catcher with the league lead in batting average. Only time in the American League anyone's ever led the league as a catcher. Only catcher to ever lead the league 3 times. Ernie Lombardi did it twice. in the National League for the Reds. But even then, those are in the 40s, 30s, and 40s. So if you start looking at the accolades, everything is there but the final seasons.
But that's going to be a big part of it, though.
And that's where I'm not disagreeing with you guys.
Oh, wow.
I said I was going to prove you wrong, damn it. And you don't know what I was going to say. Do I think he eventually gets in? Yes. Just because, and I'm not disagreeing with Ben on this. Yes, you can compare him to his contemporaries at first base and DH. However, if you compare him to the catcher / first base DH only and eventual catcher / first base onlys, he's at the top.
Yeah, he's got Victor Martinez. I'll give you that.
Goddamn right.
Compare him.
So guys,
compare him to Yachty and Buster Posey.
Let me make this one point real quick. I think we're all rooting for him, and he's going to be a fun one to watch the debates and arguments on.
I'd like to be a fly in the room.
He absolutely gets consideration. Yeah, does he get in? Probably. Just on
there are guys that are so far off, and that that we've seen over the last few years. You're going to have people that are going to absolutely be posting on The Athletic and other major websites going, he's absolutely a Hall of Famer like they've done with Tim Raines and Jack Morris. And you're going to have other people that are going to be like, there's no way you can put Raines and Morris in because here's why. Man, Joe Mauer's going to be fun.
So, real quick, Steph brought his name up. Yes or no, that's all I want. That's all I want out of you guys when I ask this question. Posey, Hall of Famer, yes or no?
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Steph?
With postseason, yeah.
Okay.
He's got more to add.
His career's starting to scare me a little bit with he has the hip, and with Bart coming up, are they going to move him to first, which I think is fine because I'm not a Belt fan. His numbers are dramatically off the last handful of years, but that offense really hasn't had other players in there. So anyway, we have a couple guys.
I know you do. Watch real quick. We keep comparing players. You can't put Mauer in if you don't put Posey in, but you could put Posey in without Mauer.
Yeah, World Series MVP, Rookie of the Year,
5-year run
title.
Yeah, the 2010 to 2014.
He was the leader. He was the leader of that team.
Yeah. Needs more stats.
Even as a rookie in 10, he was the difference maker when they benched Molina and traded him to Texas to let Posey catch every day. So, all right, next guy up is third baseman who was in Topps Living this week, Adrian Beltre, third baseman for the Rangers. He came up. He was actually signed as an 94 amateur free agent by the Dodgers, like at 12 years old. He wasn't 12, but he was super young, like 15 or 16. Because he's like Ben and I are like the same age as Beltre here.
He came up at 19.
Yeah, 4-time All-Star. His first All-Star season was in his 13th season. He was 31 with the Red Sox, the forgotten year, the year that turned his career around. A lot of people think after a lot of years in Los Angeles, went to the Mariners as a big free agent with Richie Sexton. They were rebuilding, and that didn't really work out. He ends up with the Red Sox, turns it around, heads to the Rangers. He won one home run title in 2004. He has 3,166 career hits. He's got more than George Brett, because George Brett had 3,154 hits, which hurts my soul so bad. It's like when Emmett beat Barry in the rushing. Anyway, Adrian Beltran, Hall of Famer or Hall of Really Good, Steph?
Hall of Fame. 3,600, 400, 1,700, close to 300.
Benjamin?
Yeah, he's got the quantifiable stats. He's got the peripherals. He may have been along his career not a guy that you looked at and go, Hall of Famer. But when you look at his whole career, and I have a serious problem with him because the A's offered him a free agent contract years ago before he signed with Seattle.
Or wants to come to Oakland.
That's what he said. They offered him a contract, and Billy Beane had to pull it because he didn't want to. He thought it would zap his power numbers. Was his reasoning. Beltre played a great third base defensively for years and years. The guy just doesn't. Yeah, the guy doesn't seem to age. I bet if he wants to play another 3 or 4 years on a year-by-year, kind of like a Bartolo Colon, I bet he could, and I bet he could do it right where he's at in Texas.
Yeah, the couple things is he's been a good third baseman because he's held back Joey Gallo, who's just a masher and that can play a decent third base, but he's held him back for a couple of years. Don't touch his head. Just don't touch his head.
He and Elvis Andrews, their relationship on the field, if you've never seen it, you got to watch it.
It needs to be a sitcom.
It's phenomenal. Yeah. Watching Andrews find different ways to touch that man's head is hilarious.
I want to go back to Maurer. One point that's forgotten about Maurer, he was a highly recruited quarterback out of high school, signed to go to Florida State. Very interesting because he would have followed Winky at Florida State as the quarterback. So just a thought there. Last guy on the list. We just need one name. Ichiro. A 2001 free agent by the Mariners from the Japanese League, a 10-time All-Star. He was the 2001 AL Rookie of the Year and MVP, like Freddie Lynn. He won 2 batting titles in 01 and 04, and he has 3,089 career major league hits. He also, if you count all the hits in the world, would have the most. He's the hit king if you count all of his hits in the Japanese League. Ichiro. And by the way, like a truck full of gold gloves. So, Ichiro, is he a Hall of Famer, Ben?
There was not a moment in time, and I saw a lot of his career, in which I didn't think that you were watching a Hall of Famer from day one. He was just amazing. And I don't want to fully compare him to Jackie Robinson, what Jackie did for the sport and for this country as far as race relations. Although there were Japanese players who had come before Ichiro, he was really the one that kind of broke down that barrier and brought more Asian players over here into America. He opened the door for quite a few players in that relationship between the United States and Japan.
Yeah,
and so that needs to be in consideration. I mean, you don't anoint him to the Hall, but it's one of those things where you take his career stats and go, absolutely, he's a Hall of Famer. And then you look at some of the stuff that he did away from that, like ushering in a whole new, country of potential players. I mean, the man helped. He's absolutely a Hall of Famer. No, there's really no argument against it.
Well, you see how revered he was is that when the Angels played the Mariners early in the season, Shohei Ohtani runs over to meet Ichiro, and Ichiro tries to dodge him for the longest time, and it looks like a little kid chasing his dad. It's awesome, and they finally he was chasing his idol with the respect from Shohei to Ichiro. You can just see that. To me, hands down. I mean, when you win AL Rookie of the Year and MVP, no, he was older. He had played professional baseball, but that's an amazing feat in its own. That 01 Mariners team, they won 116 games that year.
116.
Yeah, that was a crazy good team. It was after Griffey had left, and he came over and really helped out. He's a Hall of Famer. It's easy. Steph, Hall of Fame.
Duh. The obvious comparison aside between him and Pujols, because I was curious while you guys were discussing it, they only have 7 hits difference.
Really?
Pujols has 30-82, Ichiro has 30-89.
Yeah.
One thing about Ichiro,
and they're compared so often just because they came up in 2001 together.
We talked about Kent and Bonds earlier. We talked about Maurer and Morneau, and we probably could go on and on for days about 2 players who are kind of tied together in that way. Canseco, McGuire, so on and so forth. Eddie Matthews, Hank Aaron. But with Ichiro, man, when he came up, and again, lifelong A's fan here, he played most of his career in Seattle. I hated seeing him come up because when he came up, it was like, son of a gun. And then you're looking at how many outs there are. You're looking at who's playing, the score. You're looking at who's on base. You're just like, because he had that left-handed like half swing, and because of his speed, he was 4, 5, 6, 7 steps to first base.
Oh, it was like he was halfway to first and he's like swinging.
He threw the bat out there, and then he's like halfway to first base, and then the ball makes contact, and it's either fair or foul. So he either comes back or he takes 2 more steps and he's safe at first, and it's just like. All right, so Ichiro's up. So now let me look. All right, I got runners at first and second. That means most likely the bases are loaded. I mean, as a fan, you're almost assuming he's going to get a hit.
And then even so, he slowed down in the more recent years, but he was a pretty good base stealer back in the day.
Yeah, and the other thing that was said about him is that if he had wanted to, he could have been a home run masher.
Right.
He just chose not to and focused on getting on base with hits versus hitting home runs.
Kind of like Pete Rose. Kind of funny that those are your home or your hit leaders, right?
Hit leaders.
And and I didn't put Pujols on the list tonight. I believe he's coming back. What's up?
Because he's not retired.
Yeah, he's not retired. I mean, Beltre's not either, but he was in the living set, and it kind of made sense. And
Pujols is a Hall of Famer. We can go ahead and mention him.
I mean, he checks all the boxes. Yeah, the man played like 4 positions his rookie and his second year in the league. He's playing the outfield. He made an all-star team as a third baseman, right? His rookie year.
330, 100 for 10 years.
Yeah.
Well, he is also like 3 years older than they say he is. So there's that.
I don't even care.
Doesn't matter.
I don't care if his name is Bob
right now. I'd believe it.
Yeah, he's a surefire. He's a first balloter. Ichiro's a first balloter.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Beltre.
Got to be nice to if Pujols did retire this year, he and Ichiro went in together.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah,
it's
like when Yount, like listen, in '99, Yount, Ryan, and Brett all went in together. Like that's my childhood right there.
Well, look at Glavine and Maddox went in together, and it was like, man,
Smoltz was the next year.
Why didn't Smoltz retire a year earlier?
Infield and Puckett.
How great! I mean, yeah, Beltre may have to wait. You know, if Mauer gets in, it's gonna be a couple of years. But Pujols, Ichiro, first ballot guaranteed. Yeah. Ichiro has a chance to hit high 90s.
Yeah, guys, what a great show! I appreciate you letting me and my ego in tonight. I'm glad there was room for the both of us. As always, we're live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on YouTube. It's probably going to change because Halloween's on a Wednesday this year, so we'll have to figure that one out. I like to go out and bag snatch. Make sure to subscribe and review our show on YouTube, iTunes, and Stitcher. Let us know how we're doing. If you subscribe on YouTube, we'll definitely give you little alerts when we hop on and go live. And let us know, man. Follow us on Twitter. Most of you do at About the Cards. You can follow Ben at Our Trading Cards. Follow Steph at Junk Wax Twins. You can always follow me at Big Shep 79. Give the guys at Mojo a break. Check out their show, The Hype. They're on their YouTube page. Just put a Mojo break because they got like 6 bazillion subscribers. They're super famous. And The Hype's a good show. They go into more of the breaker side of it. They like ours because we're more of the collector side of it, which is great. Basically the customer base, the guys there. What I like, just it's not an infomercial about them, but they're good. They're good guys. They're good breakers. They're honest. They're true. They have a schedule. If you buy no break, it's going to break that day. It's going to sell out. They guarantee to do that. They do hitless credits. If you spend I think over $25 on a break and you go hitless, they always have good prices. They always have promo codes. The generic one's Mojo Break, and you always get a little discount on Team Break. So check them out. Dan and Doug and C-Rad over there. Thanks for having me on today and letting us share our show. And hopefully Ben and I are going to get a chance to go down and meet them and say what's up to them at their shop someday soon, and see one of our listeners as well. Cardboard Icons. Hopefully we can make a little. Maybe we'll do some live on locations. That'd be pretty legit. So, you guys have anything as we wrap up tonight, Steph?
No, that's it. Great show, guys.
Yeah, it was awesome. Ben?
I'm just waiting for the A's game to start because I'm waiting for them to play.
Yes.
Because
waiting for them to show up.
I just want
to play earlier.
My final comments. I want to point out as I look over Ben, I click on him above Ben's right shoulder. It says BS. So all night, all I've heard is BS from Ben. And
can I say what those are for?
You can, but it's gonna have a different meaning for me.
What those are handmade by my wife. Just get the blank ones like over at the Hobby Lobby, and then those are like little tiny pictures of our memories. The B standing for my name Benjamin, and the S for my daughter Savannah. She needs to make another one for Bentley, which I said now BS becomes BSB, which is the Backstreet Boys.
There you go.
And then also we have a son named Jonathan. So I was like, if you put our boys' names together, Bentley and Jonathan. Anyway, that's where I will leave that, considering their names.
Yes, just
think he plays for the Astros.
So real quick, as the wild card games are done, let's do real quick. I went in here so we have it on record. The Yankees are playing
Red Sox.
The Red Sox. Oh wow, who's winning that?
Are we saying who we think is going to win or who we want to win?
No, who's going to win? If you're going to put your hard-earned money down, who's going to win?
The Red Sox.
Okay. Steph?
Red Sox.
I'm going to go Yankees.
I'm sorry.
And so that means the Indians are playing the Stros. So who was winning that?
Stros.
I'm rooting against them, but the Stros. They are right now the best team in baseball.
Yeah, that's who I'm going to go with as well. So then we have the Braves playing the Dodgers. I'm going to take the Braves because the Dodgers are going to implode at some point.
Dodgers.
Like the Yankees, I can't root for the Dodgers, so I got to go the Braves.
And then we have the Rockies playing the Brew Crew. Obviously, I'm taking the Brewers.
Same.
Yeah. I don't care who wins. I want them both to win, so I guess I'll say the Brewers.
Now, if the Rockies happen to win, I'm happy because my boy Garrett Hampson was on the wild card game, so I'm hoping he gets to move to the divisional series and then on. That'd be great to see. My buddy Noah would be enthralled because if his cousin and this is a family of lifelong Giants fans rooting for the Rockies, so that's a tough one, right? But
family ties got to go a little stronger than.
And it's good to see the kid out there playing, man. I'm excited. So we'll come back and we'll talk about that when these series wrap up. But guys, thank you. Thanks to everybody for listening in and hanging out with us tonight. As always, we appreciate this. We do this for you. We would do this for ourselves as well, just hanging out. But it's great that other people like to listen in and say what's up. Spend some time with us tonight. I know Jenny was in the chat. Chris Torres was in the chat. I know that Adam K was in there for a minute.
Ben Wilson was in chat.
Yeah, who's that? Sports Card D4 was in there. So thanks to all of you for listening in. If I missed anybody, I do apologize.
And thanks to Topps Living for making a Manny Machado Dodger card before the end of the year.
Vomit my hat. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your week and share with us what you get over the weekend. And, when you're out picking up some cards at the local Target or the LCS or whatever.
Sure.
All right, guys. Have a good night. Keep collecting.